What's going on, Energy family? Welcome back to the Ascension Files. I'm here with Aurora Ray. She is an ambassador of the Galactic Federation of Light. We're just going to jump right in it today. If you liked what you see and hear here today, hit that subscribe button. If you want to check us out on Telegram, t.me/Army of Energy, and we're going to jump right into it. So, Aurora, tell us, how did you get here? And how did you become an ambassador to the Galactic Federation of Light?
Well, you don't become a ambassador of the Galactic Federation of Light after you've been here. You have to be a member of the Galactic Federation before you come here, so that you then can serve as an ambassador for the Galactic Federation on Earth. I am a Lyran commander. So Lyra is where I come from, and I do command one of the fleets. And yeah, well, we heard the call. There is something called free will on this planet. And because where no being actually is allowed to violate the free will of another being. So many people always ask, why do they not just land if they're so benevolent and just free us out of our misery? Well, it has several reasons. One of all, this is not their planet. Every species is responsible for their own planet. If they would come and do that, that would mean that afterwards they would be responsible, and they don't want to be responsible. Like if you have children, I don't want to be responsible for your children. If I wanted to be responsible for your children, I would have made my own children. It's kind of like a situation like this a little bit, and this has nothing to do with people not being benevolent or being benevolent, but it's like some things just cross the line. And so the other thing is the free will, that no being is allowed to violate the free will. And if they would come and land on this planet, simply do, I don't know, some great liberation or whatever people envision that could happen, then that would violate the free will of many, many other people, because not everybody is on the same page. And so they were sitting there hearing the call from humanity, and humanity has been praying so much more and calling upon the divine, so much more within this last century, because we had to experience two world wars and some other catastrophic events, like Fukushima and things like this. And it was really, really bad the last century. So people were praying more and calling upon the heavens. Some people pray to God, some people pray to the universe. Everybody has some kind of a belief system going on, but in the end it all comes back to the divine, right? And so we heard the call and we said, okay, these people, there is a big, a large number of people who are asking for our help. They are using their free will and saying, come here and help us. So what do? We cannot go with our ships and just land there. Then we're violating the free will of other people. So what do? We have to find volunteers who are willing to incarnate physically into this third dimensional realm. And they have to be masters, so that we can ensure that this mission is going to be successful. And they have to be very, very courageous, very patient, very kind, and very compassionate, everything like very, very, very. And so they made the call, and not just random people were allowed to even volunteer for this position or offer their to go on this mission. But it was really the masters. That's what I keep telling you. If you are here in this lifetime now, you are a master. You are not, they did not send the children or the new souls or the unexperienced souls. Of course, they sent the masters, the commanders, the warriors, the negotiators, the masters when it comes to, because we are at war. And so those who were the masters of war, we're not in the middle of a kindergarten party where the clown is going to come with his balloons, but we are in the middle of the Third World War, which is a spiritual war. It's literally bad versus, well, it's not actually bad. It's actually evil versus good. And so here we are. That's how I came here.
So tell us a little bit about your human story. So you had to learn how to be human all over again. I'm sure you've had human lives before, but I've just never felt like I belonged anywhere on this planet. I could be in a room of 1,000 people and be alone while still talking to people and things. And so for me, it was almost like a study of humanity for my entire life. I've been on this planet in this form for 32 years. I know I've been doing it a lot longer to get here. I feel that I've been guided. Elohim, Great White Brotherhood, original seeders, original creators of Earth, and I've been helping this experiment along this entire time. And I connected with the Galactic Federation of Light last year when I started coming into my remembrance. I started coming into my abilities, and I got a little nervous. I got a little nervous about 6 months ago. I was talking to Ashtar, and I remember I was brought in the astral. I was brought into one of his fleet ships, like his real big fleet ships. And I remember walking through it, very visual. I'm not a very visual person when I meditate. I'm more feeling vibes, but for some reason, I really had a crazy visual. And I remember him just walking me through the ship, and like people bowing to me as I was walking through it. And I was just like, "Why are they bowing to me?" And he goes, "Because you're very, um, you're you're adored up, up in the higher realms and the higher levels for the work that you do. You're courageous, you're a warrior, you're down there doing this when it's the hardest time to be a human on that planet. It's the darkest, it's the craziest, and you did it." And so all these beings up in these higher realms or in corporeal form, they have a lot of respect for those who incarnated at this time to be the warriors, the way showers, the light workers. And so where I got nervous was around this idea that, do you feel like we're kind of feeding these fear narratives a bit by focusing on the fight and not focusing on the oneness and the unity and the Christ consciousness? Or do you feel it's a step-by-step process that's kind of what the Galactic Federation of Light is bringing us through, is like, we're going to focus on the truth at where they're at their level. I say like a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, and then help them grow themselves. Because that's really what happened the last 7 years since I got out of the military, is I realized I had to regrow myself emotionally, physically, mentally, and I had to become a whole new human again. And it ended up not working. And then I went through another transformation last, 2020, and then this year, and I finally became who I've always been, which is a being in human form. I tried playing in these human narratives and storylines my entire life, and it just didn't fit. And now all of a sudden, I'm free of them, and I'm trying to find the most optimal path to ascension. And I'm just trying to figure out if when is the narrative going to switch from kind of fight to evolve, change yourself, go within, things like that.
Well, it's definitely a little bit of all of that. It's a hand-in-hand process, I would say. Well, we're not fighting in the sense of being violent, right? We do the opposite, but it is a fight in the sense of, well, also I must say before I continue, human language is very limited, and in most scenarios we don't have the correct word. These are the words that we have at our disposal, and we have to somehow get by with them, right? Otherwise we would need a different word that would have the definition of a peaceful fight, which we don't have. But we have to use this word. There is no other word for it. And life, the whole construct about life is either you give up, because this world, the 3D system, is not created in a way that builds people up. It's created in a way to break people down. So what do? You either you give up and say, okay, I give up, that's it. Or you fight. And how do you do that? You get up in the morning, you speak some positive affirmations, you say, I am beautiful, I am powerful, I am enough, I am great, I'm gonna do this. So this is what we call fighting, right? So do not get dragged down into the drama. If you follow the news, don't allow yourself to be so immersed in it that you get dragged down by it. That you don't do. You have to keep the whole picture in mind. And that's what it is. We belong together. We are, at the end of the day, we're all one. We belong together, and we have to be compassionate with each other within this drama that is playing out. But on the other side, also don't forget that it is a game. And also in a game, what do? You fight to survive when you're playing this video game. You don't want to be eaten, right? You have to fight to survive. So again, the exact words are missing in the human language, but this is how we could describe it. But we have to somehow get by. You have to keep a positive mindset. You have to keep remembering yourself where all this is headed to. What is the price? What is the goal? Where are we going? The goal and the price is the fifth dimension. We will only get into the fifth dimension if we start healing ourselves. And you know, it's the what you already touched on, right? It's the emotional healing, it's the mental healing, it's the physical healing, it's the spiritual healing, it's even the astral healing, because we have all these sacred bodies. We're not just this physical body. We have 5 sacred bodies, and we have to nourish them, and we have to heal them. We have to let go of all those things that caused blockages in any one of these bodies in our chakras, so that we can start ascending out of this trauma, and then hopefully take as many with us as possible, but also again without being dragged down, because many people nowadays, they suffer so severely from cognitive dissonance that there is actually nothing we can say or do, and even that is okay. And that is really you
Contrast.
know, it's spiritual mastery to be able to have this tolerance, to accept the circumstance that maybe I love this person so much, but they're clinging with their hand and feet and anything that they can with their teeth. They're clinging, you know, it's like to this 3D world, you know, like a bulldog that bites into something and won't let go. And this is how it appears to me, you know. Again, everybody has their own experiences of this simulation, of this game. Everybody has their own perspective, and no one truth is the same as the other. But for me, it's really, I always like to compare it to that, because I feel like people, they've bitten into this and they're not letting it go, and as if their life depends on it. No, no, no. I love 3D. I love to be abused and lied to and betrayed to. And I love paying taxes. I don't know, maybe they do, you know, and that's okay. It's their free will. They're using their free will choice and saying, this is the choice that I make. My soul is not ready for that experience yet. I want to continue in this third dimensional reality. And so, really, we have to have enough patience and acceptance and love, compassion to say, okay, then this is your decision. You run with that. I have a different decision. I'm going full 5D and nothing can stop me.
I truly believe that the reason we haven't had disclosure to the level that we thought we'd have by now, and the reason we haven't had first contact yet, was because our guides, the higher realms, the experiment, was trying to save as many human minds as possible by doing it slowly and allowing us to choose it for ourselves. But it's just not happening. I just made a video yesterday I released called Ascension Stalemate, and how we're kind of like at this place now. And I think I call it an Ascension Stalemate because I like to put some emotion behind things, so people kind of like, oh shoot, we're at a stalemate. Like maybe start thinking a little deeper about what they can be doing within themselves to grow. And I go into deeper details onto like what I mean by ascension stalemate is everyone's still focused outside ourselves. And the only thing you can do is, like you said, raise your vibration, change yourself, be loving, be kind, or stick up for yourself, standing in your lion. Don't accept people's BS. You know, don't acquiesce to things that you are compromising yourself over. So I truly believe that it's always at 0 point, right? So the 0 point hold 2 opposite sides in the spectrum. So the first part is that we're in a stalemate. Not enough humans are waking up. Not enough starseeds are actually going forth and doing their mission. And because they're not going forth, they're not doing the work inside themselves. They're not unlocking more of their DNA, and they can't hold more light. And so they're radiating our planet with all that love light, but they're only able to anchor in so much because not enough people are doing the right work at the right time. The other side of that is they wanted to save as many minds as possible. So you have people like us who keep doing the right work at the right time. And I know a bunch of people now that do it, but we're being asked to hold more loads, hold more loads, and hold more loads. And it's exhausting. And I'm to the point now where I'm talking to my guides. I'm like, I really don't want to anchor in any more light for humanity that doesn't want it. You see what I'm saying? And so I said, what's going on? We need some evidence. We need some proof. We've been surrendering, letting go, accepting, releasing. We've done everything you've asked. But then there's all these other people, 7.7 billion, that aren't doing anything, which is fine. It's all perfect in the end. Yet, where's that energetic reciprocation? We put our time in. We put the effort in. Come on now, let's go. It's your turn. And that's exactly what they told me. Because when I do a video, it's all of them. It's my guides, it's my higher self, it's all of it coming through. And they were even calling themselves out in the video. And so I wanted to hear your opinion on this theory that I have and this vibe I have. It's just a vibe. It's like, what else is left, Aurora? What else is left other than disclosure, full disclosure, and then first contact and really just blow people's minds. And then by September, I think something massive is going to be. But again, no time frames or anything. It's just my vibes. So I just want to get your vibes on this whole thing.
Okay, so here's the thing. The fifth dimensional frequency is already fully established. It's here, right?
The Earth is here. That's what I'm trying to say is Starseeds and everybody's looking out. And they were like, it's here for you to do. Oh, yes. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's here. It really, if you have free will choice right now on this planet, we have all the dimensions accessible, 3D, 4D, 5D. Which one do you choose? That's the one you'll dwell in. Of course, you have to do your due diligence, right? If you're all the time angry and unhealed and, I don't know, smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day, you're not going to be in 5D, right? If you deprive yourself, in this case scenario, if you deprive yourself of all that oxygen, you're not going to be in 5D. But if you then say, but I want to be in 5D, and you take the cigarettes, you throw them away, you can go to a hypnosis therapist, works wonders, okay, by the way. And then, it's a decision that you make. For everything, there is a decision, there is a choice you can make. You can change everything, or you can just accept things and say, no, it's never going to happen. Then it's not going to happen, but it's not going to happen for you, because there are 7 billion other people, or maybe 8 billion other people, and everybody has free will, and everybody has their own truth, everybody has their own perspective, right? So it's already here. That it's not more obvious than it is, because I fully agree with you. It's like really for people who are very tuned in, who are doing this work day and night, who are so sensible that they feel everything. They know every vibration that's going on, right? They feel everything. They know exactly where the collective energy is at any moment. Like, I'm one of those people. I can sense you're one of those people. Most of my friends who are with us doing this journey, like us, they're galactics and starseeds, and who are really working very, very hard day and night. Like, most of them, we don't sleep, we don't eat. We're really working, all of us, really, really, really hard. Really, it all comes down to the collective consciousness, and the collective consciousness must evolve. It must evolve. There's no way around it. It's not evolved high enough. So the problem is we have too many people on the planet who cling to the 3D reality, and through their thoughts, through their emotions, they keep recreating it.
Yep.
The light forces are all here. I don't know if you had a look really recently at the skies, but I mean, over my house for the past few months, there is a huge mothership located right over my house. And I have to go outside. I have to really tilt my head back like this so I can try to see the whole thing, because it's so huge. It's like the whole sky that I can see from my perspective. It's this huge mothership. And I say, okay, you guys are here. You have stationed the motherships, okay? They've always been here, but they have grown in numbers. They are 1,000 times more than they've been a few years ago. And now the phenomenon that I'm witnessing is all around the world, from all the things that is being sent to me, all the material like videos and photos and stuff. They are stationing the motherships. So they are doing their work. They're also working really, really hard, and they are doing a lot. There is a lot going on. And then, as I said, you have to be extremely tuned in to really be aware of what's going on. And if you're not, you can get desperate. You can give up. It's so easy nowadays. You just turn on the news for 5 minutes and that's done. You almost want to like hang yourself. It's so depressing. It's like, okay, there's no way out, we're gonna die. Every moment TV says we're all gonna die. Yeah, it's okay, Nostradamus, we got it. So until now we're still here. Until we're breathing, we still have a chance, right? But it's the collective consciousness. They cling to it, they think it still exists, and they have so many emotions and so many thoughts that they feed into this matrix, that they keep recreating it. They're there with their motherships, as I mentioned, and everybody's here and everybody is working. The earth, the surface population, like the ground crew, like us, we're the ground crew. And then there is the unawakened humans, and who keep recreating it. We keep breaking it. with help from the ethers, right? From the galactics and the angels and all those beautiful beings who are assisting. They are in their dimensions and their frequencies. They're doing their work. We're doing our work as the ground crew, and we're really dismantling this matrix. We have already established a fifth dimensional frequency on Earth. It is accessible, and we keep going in and out. It's not that stable. We're not that stable yet. We have to become really the keeper of this frequency, which we had to do with 4D, which we managed. Now we have to do the same with 5D, become the keeper of this frequency so that you not tap in and out, but you can really anchor it and be stable in it. But then we have so many who push from the other side that they keep recreating the matrix. We keep chopping off the fundament of the matrix, and they keep building on this rotten fundament. And so, but this is also, it's a transition phase.
It's
Okay.
perfect. It's just what it is, you know?
Yeah. And honestly, it's like, you have these phases as a teenager. I don't know. There's so many things that can happen to you. You can have acne and you look yourself in the mirror and you say, I'm so ugly. And then you have all these beautiful pictures from parties and birthday parties and I don't know, adventures and holidays and vacations that you do when you're a teenager, but you have this acne. Now you're 25, you're full on in your ego at 25. And at least my generation. And so you're sitting there, you're looking at these pictures from your teenager days, and you say, oh my God, I was so ugly. And you destroy all of those pictures. Now years pass and time goes by, and at some point you're 55 or you're 65 and you have a daughter or a son. And now you find one picture from when you were a teenager full of acne, and you look at that picture and say, oh my God, look how cute I was. Do you see how cute I was? Look at me, so radiant, full of acne. So look at me, so radiant. Perspective changes as time goes by,
Yes, it
right?
does.
So even if people now think this is so bad what's going on, it's not. It's so exciting. This is the most exciting
Well,
time to be alive on planet Earth.
well, here you have people because all they do is they're just always in their palm screen black mirrors. And so obviously, all right, so I'm going to use an example to kind of bring what I'm trying to get at here is I don't watch social media videos anymore. I don't consume that kind of content. I barely consume YouTube videos. I'm very careful with what I put into my vessel because I tend to get pulled really quickly into anger and aggression. I'm a warrior. I'm a freaking veteran. I want to fight literally all the time. And so it's like, let's go back this way into the light. You know what I mean? Y'all can have your fight over there. I'm just going to go hang out, and smell some lavender, listen to some Solveggio beats, and just chill out because my normal is intense. It's just intense, and I love it. I love that about myself. So I was watching these YouTube shorts. They're like TikTok videos that people put on YouTube. It's like dogs and cats and stuff, and they give you that dopamine dump, right? It's like boom. It's like, oh, happy. Whoa, look at that dog, and oh, look how cute that cat is. I watched like 3 or 4 of those, 4 minutes, right? All of a sudden, the rest of the day, I'm just like, what's wrong? I don't, and you start chasing that rabbit hole, trying to find what's wrong. No, you just dopamine dumped yourself for 4 minutes. And now all of a sudden you're back to being baseline and it's not as good as it was. And so still, even with someone said toxic positivity, someone, a tarot card reader, her name's Chloe Taylor. She's amazing. She says she was studying to be a psychologist and then became a tarot card reader and uses psychology and tarot. It's awesome. And she calls it toxic positivity, where people are just being positive to be positive, spiritually bypassing, rising above, right? And not dealing with the stuff that's actually happening underneath the surface that's creating all of this chaos. And so did you dabble? I have a feeling you did. So this is my experience was they put a bunch of blocks on me so I wouldn't remember, so that it would force me through this human journey until it was right time to wake up. Was that kind of what happened with you? Did you have a rough childhood? Did you dabble in the human condition? Did you have that thick ego? Did you have to break it, dark winter of the soul? Or were you just in remembrance this whole time, basically doing your job?
Well, I was in remembrance when I was a little child. I knew everything. I had all these beings around me all the times, my guides, my angels. It was very normal for me to hang out with them and talk with them. The galactics, it was super normal for me to sit with a bunch of galactic commanders and discuss things with them. And I knew everything. I knew about the matrix and how reality works when I was 7 years old, which was giving me actually panic attacks because there was no human that I could talk to and like empty all of these thoughts that I had in my mind, and it was giving me panic attacks. And then I would close my eyes and think that when I close my eyes, everything stops existing. And that's when you explain the matrix to a 7-year-old, very detailed, and that's what they, the take that they have on it, right? And then I would close my eyes and I would say, okay, everybody stops existing. And then I would try to peek through one of my eyes and see if are people still moving, and so fuck, they're still moving. You know.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, and then the Galactic Federation was visiting me like so many times, like I wouldn't say like every night, but many nights a week from when I was very little, all through my childhood. And they would take me on ships and do all kinds of healings and teachings and upgrades, and that's where they create this blueprint, and then they upgrade you and they code you, and so the codes fire at the right time. I was awake my whole life. I knew everything what was going on. And but then I think when I was in my early 20s was a time where I just wanted to be a young person, you know? And I just wanted to like party and hang out with my friends and drink and smoke and, you know, go to clubs and have a boyfriend and fashion, you know, makeup, the things
You're
that,
still a human, you know, you're still here in
yeah,
form.
exactly. But that really, really distracted me for a while. I went into that like I was good until I was 21, 22. Was still reading, like I remember I was reading the Bhagavad Gita when I was 21, and things about karma and you know the bhakti yoga things, and then
And then you were like, ooh,
all of
Mai
that.
Tais.
Yeah, yeah, kind of like that, totally.
Club music.
So
I like
yeah,
this.
totally. But then I got distracted and I got dragged into the 3D, and there I was for I think 7 or 8 years. And then well, I did also have a lot of trauma in my childhood. Besides that, I did have also the human part of things, and most of the times it's very hard for, especially for starseeds, they target us and they make things even harder. And so it was very, very very hard. It was very traumatic in my childhood. I had very, very abusive, narcissistic, sociopath mother, devoid of any emotions, at least any positive emotions. And all kinds of mental, physical, emotional abuse, and filthy rich family. I was born into a filthy, filthy rich family, very powerful family, one side royal. And so all of these things quite negative, and it was very hard for me. But my father was very spiritual, and many of the books, like for example the Celestine Prophecy I read when I was 14 or 15, it was his book. So he was very spiritual. He taught me a lot through my life, and he was my anchor and my best friend, and he was soul family for sure. And then he tragically died. He passed away. He had cancer. It was a very, very hard time. So it was very traumatic until I was 29 when my dad passed away. And then I fell into this deep, dark hole. And by that time, we had lost everything. We had lost our mother, who abandoned us as children. And then my father lost his fortune, and everything was gone. The family, then my mother was gone, the money was gone, and then my father was gone. And here I was, I had no parents. I felt like an orphan at the age of 29. It doesn't matter how old you are. When you have no parents, you will feel like an orphan, like a little lost and abandoned orphan child, really. It was very hard. I cried, I think, for 2 years nonstop,
Mhm.
and prayed a lot during that time. And but that is where with the death of my father, the spiritual side of me took over again. And I was the one who helped him during the transition. I was holding him and talking to him, very kind and very warm and very loving, as if I had done this many, many times before. I had never done this before, and I was crashed. Um, but yeah, I helped him transition to the other side. And I saw also something that night, which I didn't understand, but also really from that night, like I could feel how he would come at night. I would lay in my bed and shake and cry, and I could feel how he suddenly would come and hug me, and I would calm down. And lots of things like this happened. It brought me back on track. It took a while, but then more traumatic and tragic things happened, like full on dark night of the soul, like I could talk for hours and like everybody would sit here and cry with me if I would tell the whole story. It was really, really tragic, all the things that happened on top of each other, layered themselves on top of each other. But at some point, I started realizing the bigger picture, and I meditated a lot and prayed a lot. And when I say I meditated a lot, I was like meditating 3-4 hours a day, not necessarily in one piece, but maybe two,
Yeah.
three
Mhm.
sessions. And I changed my diet. I ate only raw vegan food, which is very, very beneficial for a period of time, not forever. And not only never be fanatic about anything, and don't deprive yourself. That's another psychological operation, you know. All of these different diets, they're psychological operations just
It's your
to
body. What is your body telling you?
yeah,
Right.
exactly. You got to listen to that.
So,
And
so what was it like to like build a relationship with your vessel? I I was my vessel for a very long time, and that caused a lot of problems. And then through my remembrances last couple of years, I was and just my whole thing's I studied myself my whole life. I just always found my thoughts so interesting, the feelings, the emotions. I always say this, like, if this is a simulation, this shit is ridiculously real. Like, if it's fake, well, it's not fake. If it's as real as it isn't, in my opinion, it's a light matrix. It's a simulation for us to grow our souls. I truly believe that. There's no like there are people that say, "Oh, you know, the universe is." There's no possibility that Earth experiment is going to be destroyed. There's no possibility that the universe is going to be destroyed. I'm sorry. Like we're talking. We have like 3-year-olds, right? We have like 100. We have like 100,000 3-year-olds trying to take over a city. Not gonna happen. They can
yeah,
do
this
some
is not
damage,
gonna
but it ain't gonna
happen.
happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have 144th dimensional beings. They'll just be like, no. It's just no. And here's the thing.
Especially not under our watch.
No, and that's what I'm trying to exactly. And so for me, it's always been about this experience in this vessel. And I had such a bad relationship with myself
Mm.
that until I started to treat myself like that, I started to acknowledge myself as the scared little boy or girl inside, realizing I'm not that. I'm the eternal spark of God that's lived and has been everything ever at all times. And so I started looking at myself as like a big brother to my little brother. And I started growing my human. I call it my human, our ego, all this and that. So, how, as a Lyrian commander, as someone who came in with as much remembrance, what was it like building a relationship with your vessel that's limited, that can't just be wherever it wants to be in a minute of time, be able to telekinesis, what was it like to almost go from multidimensional to analog and have to like learn how to be with this body?
It's very, very difficult, right? It's really, really difficult. Like in my early adulthood, teenager days to early adulthood, I had very, very big struggles with food, also because of my childhood. And when you have these emotional, traumatic experiences as a childhood, what people often develop are eating disorders. And I was kind of like an emotional eater. I would start eating and stuffing all that stuff inside my body, right? And then I had phases where I was not eating anything at all anymore. So all these extremes. And what happens is if you are kind of like an emotional eater or do not take the best care of your vessel in this kind of situation, if you do come from a high place, it's very dense down here. And so moving yourself, moving through this life, navigating through this earth physically is very exhausting. It's very exhausting, and you can get very lethargic. That's where I was at. I was very lethargic, slow, a little overweight. I was a little chubby, not too much. It was not too much work to get rid of that, but still, all these things, they slow you down. And I was quite lazy because things were just, I didn't know what it was back then, right? It was
Mhm.
just something was not right. But what you have to do really is you have to love yourself. That is the bottom line, right? Like the highest of all spiritual attainments is to love yourself, is not to go out and save somebody, or to meditate 6 hours a day, or to pray 88 hours a day, or to do this or to do that, or to be a master in yoga. No, none of these things make you spiritual. None of these things. The only thing that makes you spiritual is love. How much love do you have in your heart? And that starts with you. You must love you. You must heal you. And I must love me, and I must heal me. And if everybody does that, then we're in the fifth dimension, like this.
I know.
But people are not doing that, right? They drink beer from morning till night. They drink 3 liters of coffee. If you drink 1 cup of coffee, 2 cup of coffee, it's actually good for you, right? It gives your brain this amazing blood circulation like nothing else can give you. And it's an amazing antioxidant. It's the most powerful antioxidant of all that is within coffee. But there is a difference between drinking 1 cup of coffee, 2 cup of coffees per day, or drinking 2 liters, or how much is that? It's 64 ounces, I think, in ounces. So, right. So you cannot drink coffee instead of water. So you have to drink pure water. You have to breathe. You have to exercise. You have to move your body. You have to understand that we are at this tipping point in the history of humanity's evolution. You have to be physically fit. At any moment, if something happens, if you have to run, you have to be able to run, right? Of course, if you're disabled, you're sitting in a wheelchair, you cannot run. But then what do? You have to utilize your mind. You have to envision it, you have to visualize it, you have to imagine it. When you imagine things, they are real. They might not be real here in physicality, but they're somewhere real. You need that energy, you need to feed that energy. So you have to imagine you're walking, right? I say if you cannot walk, you crawl. If you cannot crawl, you imagine you're walking. You have to move yourself. Like if you want to be a couch potato and at home all day long and in front of the TV and eating chips and not moving yourself and not breathing and not sweating, okay, we're not getting far. We need to do something here, okay? You need to do something.
Got to
Okay?
get that out. You got to get all the toxicity out.
And that's the next thing. You have to detox the body, and you have to detox every day. So you have to also educate yourself, because if you don't know how you detox yourself, then you have to start digging into it. And you see what this expert says, and you read that book. Due diligence. It is work. It's not going to happen on its own. We have to really, on a human, because people forget, and then there's this escapism mechanism. They say, oh no, I just wait for Scotty to beam me up. No, Scotty is not beaming you up. Trust me, I've tried. I've been calling Scotty for the last 40 years. That guy is not coming.
I personally think the whole thing's a movie that's going on right now. I personally believe that as bad as it is, I think it's more good. I think it's all been disclosure these last 4 years. I don't think there's ever really been a huge threat of a complete cataclysm on humanity from another human or some type of nefarious force. I feel the light has won, and I feel where we're at now is the best vibe I got before the 7/7 portal was basically God put out a call to all of the spirits and basically said, shit or get off the pot. You can come home, nothing's going to happen. You'll be fine. But if you don't decide to come home now, you don't decide to come back now, it's going to get real dark for you. It's going to get real painful. And I've become a Reiki healer randomly. I don't know. I guess I'm a healer now. And I've been actually helping people clear like shadow people and shadow energies. And when I speak to them, I'm always asking them, like, why are you doing this to this person? And they go, I'm just trying to get their attention. And so what I'm feeling now is, I don't know if there's really that many shadow people trying to suck your loosh out. I think there's a lot of shadow people out there, or souls that haven't been able to cross over, that are waiting for an opportunity to go back home, that haven't had one, and they don't really know what's going on. They don't know what to do. They're getting a little frustrated because I left my body for the first time 2 weeks ago. I finally fully astral projected. Like my body melted away and I was just my pure consciousness. And I didn't change other than I didn't feel the vibrations and the frequencies within the vessel. And so I still had my thoughts. I still had my personality. I still had my ability to, think the way I do. And so I was like, it can't be that different from outside human form to inside human form. It really, you have your remembrance, I guess. You have that pure love. You have that vibration, but you don't change that much in and out, I don't feel. So what's your opinion on what's coming? What's happening with all this? Like, what do you think about that?
Well, disclosure is already happening.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. It's already here, but it's just in let's call it drip mode. It goes drip, 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 and you have to pay really close attention. Otherwise, it's going to slip your attention. You're not going to be aware of it. But that is the beginning, right? Because we have to slowly but surely bring things into the awareness, into the forefront of human consciousness, right? Because subconsciously, everybody knows We're not alone. So this is going in drip mode. So also, the Galactic Federation has been trending on Twitter, has been trending on social media. The whole world is talking about the Galactic Federation. TV, mainstream media in different places in the world, in Germany and Spain and in Italy and in France and America and so many different places in the world, in Canada, they already are talking about UFOs and what's going on, since the Pentagon gave us this nonsense report. At least they gave us a report. At
Something.
least now we have evolved. We've come to a point where the Pentagon says, yeah, there is something there. We're not sure what it is. Yeah, it's okay. Come here. Come here. Sit down. Let me tell you what
Yeah.
it is. I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you what it is. It's okay. You don't have to know everything we know,
Mhm.
right? But at least we are there now, right? Until now, they were saying, no, there's no UFOs. We're all alone on this planet. There's no life in the universe. Give us a Hollywood production of a landing in the moon. And then they say, we lost the technology. We've been there, but we can't go back there. Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, are you talking to 3-year-olds? But this is what they think of people, right? They think people are so stupid that nobody gets anything. And most probably some are, but others are not. And so here we are. Disclosure is happening on all fronts. It's in drip mode, but it has started. And that's what we needed. And it's going to get more and more and more. You know, now we
I
have
see
all these
I
things
see the
going on.
narratives changing a bit on the news. I don't watch the new. I don't even watch headlines anymore. It's been so nice these last couple of weeks. I've been in a new place on my buddy's place, and I just was like, I'm done. I just don't want to listen to any of it.
Yeah.
And but what they've been telling me is that I could see the some stories I catch, they're shifting a little bit. Like they're starting to
Yeah.
disclose more truth. And it's like a nice slow. It's like what I call it is you have an aircraft carrier in the ocean, you got to turn it around. It takes a long time to turn around an aircraft carrier.
Exactly. That is such a nice analogy, right? That's so nice. That's exactly what's happening. It's very slow, subtle. It's so subtle, but it's happening. Of course, on the other side, there is the other side, the dark sides, the dark t-shirts, and they're pushing so hard. I mean, they're throwing out all of their aces. If they continue like that, they're not gonna have any more aces. I don't know what they think, but with all of their, with their critical race theory, and now transgenders have to teach our children, and we have, I don't know how many genders do we have, 255.732. It's like it's such a clown show.
It is. It's
It is.
absolute clown show. And I
But
think that's what here. It's so ridiculous that that's the point.
yeah,
That
exactly.
they're trying to make it so ridiculous that even the most resistant person's just like, I'm so tired of this. And that's to me what the Disclosure movie is I believe we won in 2016. She wasn't supposed to lose. She wasn't supposed to lose.
Oh, yeah,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? And so for
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
like as soon as that happened, I cried on the night when she was winning. And I was like, I had tears in my eyes, and then it flipped. I started bawling my eyes out. I really thought that, like, I believe that there was that point in time where that was to me the 0 point of we could go one way or go the other. And the fact that we've been at this now going on 5.5 years, it's just so I've lost so many friends and so much like it just lost so much, but I gained so much.
You
And so
found your soul family. You lose the 3D friends, but you find your soul family.
yeah, let's talk from a collective lens. Let's talk from a big lens, from like all of us working together as one. We have disclosure. It's starting to pick up. They're talking about UFOs. So I think first contact's on the horizon. Yet there's so many humans that just don't care. Not that they don't believe in what you're saying. They believe. I have plenty of friends that believe the shit I say. They just don't give a shit. So it's
Hmm.
like,
Yeah, I have those too.
how do
Yeah.
we help more humans awaken, and how do we help more human beings not only become more aware of everything that's going on, but aware of their power, the awareness of their divinity, of their sovereignty, of the royalty, the regalness of who we are to be on this planet at this time. This is the show, people. Earth School. Well, first of all, Earth School ended December 21st, 2020. I believe the simulation ended, and it's been true free will sovereignty since. And that's why it's been so much easier for us who have always been very self-accountable and self-responsible, and so much harder for the people that you said cognitive dissonance. I believe cognitive dissonance is being taken away. I believe that's the true ascension.
Oh, we've moved into the age of light. This is what's happened, right? We have the 26,000 year cycle, the yuga, the yugas, how the Hindus and the gurus call them. It was the age of darkness, the last 26,000 year cycle. And it was depicted in the Maya calendar on the 12th, what was it, 21st December, 2021, 12, 2012, right? That was the Mayan calendar. And that people thought that it's the end of the world. No, it's the end of a cycle, of a yuga, of a 26,000. It's almost 26,000. It's like 25,000 and maybe
690.
680 or something like this, right? So let's call it 626,000. That ended. We've moved into the age of light. This is why many things since 2012 have changed, have evolved, and have also come into this boiling point where we are right now, right? Where things are about, it's because we have two very powerful forces opposing each other, and truly, literally, they are fighting. We're here talking about love and light. Those dudes, the poor guys, they're really, really fighting. They're really, really fighting. There were many casualties, many have died, a lot of destruction, a lot of prisoners, a lot of things have happened, but they're fighting. And but we have entered, this is a fact, we have entered the age of light, and there is a transition phase that takes a few hundred years. This time around, however, we do not have that transition phase. It's going to be a few years. It's not going to be a few hundred years. Okay, it's going to be within this lifetime. We're going to see everything. But the way that, this is so difficult. I know it's so difficult. We're all emotional about it, and that's okay. Okay, just because you're like a starseed or you're a spiritual doesn't mean that you're not allowed to have emotions. It's the opposite. Our emotions are the most powerful wealth that we have. That's what makes us as a species so desirable, so interesting, so different. That's why everybody is willing to give an arm and a leg for a chance at incarnation on this planet, right? They're literally fighting each other over who gets to incarnate, right? There's only a certain number of people allowed, and that's why we have so many people here at the moment on this planet, because everybody wanted to be here for the great showdown. This is the Super Bowl of the universe, what's happening right now. So really, it's perspective. You really have to look at this from a positive perspective, not to get dragged down into the drama. But how do we do this really? How do we help others see the light? Okay, number one, you cannot make anybody see anything they don't want to see. Everybody has a free will. Everybody makes their own choices. And some have honestly, seriously decided that no, this lifetime, I don't want to ascend, and I don't want to participate. I just want to observe. I want to live a human life. I might even want to get a disease and die from it because I want to experience pain and sadness and physical pain and disease. And I want to experience death. I've never experienced death before. If you are 2 million years old, why wouldn't you want that? You do want that. You do want, because it's just a blink of an eye, a lifetime for us here on planet Earth compared to the time difference that they have, right? So really, seriously, honestly, there are people who have decided that, who want to maybe check out earlier or whatever, or they just want to observe, they just want to be here, but they don't want to participate in this shift, in this ascension. Now, there are those, and for those, we cannot do anything. Okay, and it should also not be the focus. And now there are those who have come here for the shift, for some kind of a participation. Everybody has a different participation. Everybody has a different job to do, has a different mission to do. One is a teacher, the other one is maybe really a fighter, the next one is an activist. And there's so many different versions of what we have. One is a tarot card reader, one is a psychic. Everybody has their own job to do here. But how do we help the others? Well, there are only two ways we can help the others. One is, what is light? Light is information. That is the definition of what light is. It's information. These are codes. It's data. So we are light workers. That means we are information centers, right? So what do?
Tell the truth.
Exactly. You tell the freaking truth.
Tell the truth.
You don't want to be sitting from one living room to the next living room and keep repeating yourself. For God's sake, you have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have YouTube, you have a podcast, there's so many platforms, right? You choose your thing. Are you a video maker? Do you like talking, but you don't like to make your hair? Like I many days don't like to do my hair. It's like everywhere, you know? And it's like really literally everywhere. And I'm like, no, I cannot like stand in front of the mirror and make my hair for an hour. I just don't feel it. So what do? You write. I write. I love writing, right? Or somebody likes to talk. So you make a podcast, or you are good for video. So you do video. So you find your thing, your outlet, and start telling the truth. And you don't need a script. All you need is to be yourself. Be authentic, for God's sake. Really, this is, this is all of us. We have one job. Be authentic and act out of integrity. And if you do that, you will have maybe no listener the first day. Maybe the second day you have one people listening. Maybe the third day it's the same one person. Maybe for a month it's going to be the same one person. And maybe after 1 month you have 3 people listening to you. You keep doing this and keep doing it for 1 year. You do it for 1 year, no excuses, no laziness, no excuses, no way out. Do it for 1 year, every day. And then you will have your tribe. Your vibe attracts your tribe. They will come to you. They will be your immediate soul family. They will recognize the words that you speak. You will find new friends. You will have a new family or an extended family, whatever you want to call it. But your tribe will be there, and they will listen to you, and they will learn, and they will absorb, and they will observe, and they will evolve. And then they will take, you have the torch of light. You have to take it and pass it on.
Yep.
Right? This is how you do it. So this is one way of doing it. You create the information, or you gather the information. You can be a librarian, right? You read the amazing books, and what you read, or the articles, or you are in so many Facebook groups. I don't know what you do, but you have the information, you come across the information, share it. Tell something about it, comment on it, And so this is the one way you do it. The other way we have to do it, all of us, without any excuses, is being the role models. You have to live the right way. You have to think the right way. You have to feel the right way. You cannot be inauthentic and not be in integrity and expect anything to happen. But if you have these, and I mean these are the characteristic traits of a light warrior, right? We have the torch of light. So I'm here to speak truth. With truth and knowing truth and understanding truth and really embodying truth comes wisdom. So you apply that. That's applied truth, actually. When you take the truth, you apply it, and that's wisdom. So with the truth, with wisdom, with love, with compassion, with patience, with all these beautiful attributes that we have in our hearts, they're inherently given to us. They are innately given to us. So we just take them, we utilize them, live the best version of ourselves. When you live the best version of yourself, you emit a frequency, and you make this frequency accessible to others, right? When somebody says to you, let's go take this to stay healthy, they say, no, thanks, I don't need that. I have a healthy immune system. I believe in God. I eat healthy. I'm good. Thank you. And when you say things like this, when you give an answer like this, that is a frequency, a very high frequency. And a moment that you're so nonchalant and so charming and so beautiful and so kind, without trying to force yourself on somebody, you make this frequency accessible, and that triggers.
It does.
You cannot help, but it does trigger. Maybe it does not help in that moment, but that moment will come inevitably, because it's energy. It's
Always.
how the universe is built.
Absolutely.
So
And that's the best way. I mean, it's absolutely the best way. I personally, like I said, I'm intense. I believe in confrontation. I believe that some people need to be ruffled a bit in order to get out of their ego. Because there's a lot of people whose egos, they get scared and then they get bearish, so
Yes.
they'll get kind of like angry. What I've learned is that you're not going to out aggress me. You're not going to out yell me. You're not going to outsmart me. And I don't mind confrontation. I don't mind intensity, but I didn't trust myself with it, especially after the military, because I came into this politically correct world from a completely not politically correct world. And I shut myself down, and I decayed physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So I want to take it off with this final question before we sign off. Self-trust is something big I'm working on right now, but deeper levels of that self-trust, where in the past I'd have a thought, are you doing a good job? I'm now choosing to completely take it to the other side and go, you're doing a good job. Like, I'm to the point now where I'm trusting myself inherently and then asking what I can do better instead of asking what I can do better and then trusting myself. Because that's what they're trying to get me to come to this idea is the only reason you're not getting even further than where you want to go is because all you so that's just trust more, believe in yourself more, trust yourself more. So this whole interview has been about the theme I feel in this interview has been about truly how do we, as the starseeds and the light workers, be the beacons and live the life that we need to live to show other humans how they can live if they so choose. The whole thing about masks and the whole thing about the VACCINEs is about compromising yourself so that you decay yourself from your soul. I believe that. It's like when you compromise yourself to acquiesce to fear, you disconnect yourself from your spirit. That's the whole point of that. So you have that compromise, you have the compromising through acquiescence of ourselves, and then you have building self-trust and believing in things you can't see, hear, believing in the stuff that you don't sense with your human senses. So how would you give some advice for those people who have compromised themselves over the last year and a half to acquiesce to fear programs, but that now are breaking that mold and are coming up out of it and trying to become more self-trusting, trusting what they hear, trusting what they see that, may not be or may be, how did you get to that point of completely self-trusting again after you kind of broke that self-trust?
Well, the first thing you got to do is to forgive yourself. Okay. So I have this very nice thing that I always do with all of my clients in my coaching sessions when the time is right. And I say, there's this Persian poet, Rumi. He says, out beyond all ideas of wrongdoing or right doing, there's a field. I'll meet you there. Okay, so you go on that field, you imagine that field. For me, the field is very neutral. There are no trees, there are no plants, there are no flowers because I want it to be neutral. I have weeds. There's weeds everywhere, largely grown weeds, like maybe 2 feet high grown weeds. I like that. But it's neutral. It's not sunny, it's not rainy, it's not cloudy, it's not clear. It's somewhere in between all because it's neutral. And whoever has done me wrong, from my perspective or from any perspective I used to have at some point in my life, which is also important to see because you're always allowed to change, you're always allowed to evolve. Okay, who you were 20 years ago is who you were, but is not who you are here, is not here right now, is in the past, is not real anymore, right? So we always have the choice to change. But you go into that field one by one, you meet all of the people who did you wrong and you forgive them. And if you think that you have some problem with yourself, if you're like, I don't know, bashing yourself or talking down to yourself or trying to punish yourself, or you feel guilt or shame or whatever for anything you've ever done in your life, it's okay. We've all been there. That's human life. That's human experience. And it's beautiful. It's like, with the picture of with the acne when you were 15, but then you're 55 and you say, oh my God, how amazing I look. I wish I had more pictures, because the perspective will change. And when you look back, the bad things suddenly look beautiful because enough time has passed and you've shifted from that. You're not in a frequency anymore. So you go to that field and one by one, you forgive those people. You do the Ho'oponopono prayer with them. It says, I love you. I bless you. I thank you. I'm sorry. I forgive you. Please forgive me too. You feel that from your heart with all honesty, from soul to soul, even if that's somebody who's done you so wrong, like even raping you or taking all of your life, your money, or killing somebody, whoever that was, from soul to soul. There is only love. There is only forgiveness. All of these things happen in the 3D reality. In the 3D reality, we do not remember the divinity that we have. It's okay. It was the human shell that did that. It was not the soul that did that. From soul to soul, you can forgive. That is okay. Why you have to do that? Because forgiving frees the forgiver. And if you have any problems with yourself, you do it with yourself. You meet your 5-year-old self, you meet your 15-year-old self, you meet your 25-year-old self, your 35-year-old self. You meet yourself and you say, it's okay. We messed up. It's okay. It's okay. It was
It really
part
is.
of this experience. If we take, let me tell you this. Pain is the greatest teacher that we have. I have had so much pain in my life. This is why I am so wise now. I am wise so beyond my age. I am so I don't know, experienced beyond my age. Not all of this is coming from my galactic heritage, but it's coming from my human experience that suffered so much. I suffered so much physically and mentally and emotionally. All that pain. I love it. I bless it. And I
I
thank
was a masochist for 15 years, man. I just
yeah,
chased it. Just chased it.
it,
You learn, you grow, you evolve, you expand. I mean, this is my thing now. On the other side of uncomfortable is freedom. On the other side of uncomfortable is everything you've ever wanted to be, everything you've ever wanted to do. On the other side of comfortable is 5D Earth. And that seems like you've lived your entire life on the other side of uncomfortable, and now you're never uncomfortable anymore.
yeah.
And
You
so
have to grow a thicker skin. You have to be a warrior in this world. I mean, for us, it's easier because we are warriors. We were warriors before we came into this body. This is why we've chosen also in this role to have a role of a warrior. I am also a warrior. And I also believe that sometimes people need to be really, really shaken really, really hard because I am a warrior. There are others who have other roles who do not believe in that. And it's okay. You have your opinion, I have my opinion, because you have your reality, I have my reality. I live my experience and you live your experience. And that's the beauty of it. Because at the end, if we all come back together, we have all of these experiences and we bring them back to the divine and we evaluate them. And that makes us evolve universally. And that's the whole purpose of the entire universe.
absolutely.
But
And
that's
as galactic ambassadors, every species we go an ambassador for, because I really believe we're going to be going through stargates in human form and teaching other star systems, other species, our with love.
We are.
Not every single one of those species is going to be nice. Not every single one of those species is going to be hard. So you got to be able to stand in the different emotions as the human being ascended master, and you got to be able to scrap with the best of them. Because here at the end of the day, no one's going to be killed. No one's going to be enslaved. That's being removed now. That whole vibration is being removed. It's being fought upon. Plenty of people have gone that way to make sure that's never going to be here again. And where we're at now is we're bringing peace back to this planet. I truly believe we're bringing peace back to the entire universe. I feel that the Earth has been out of synchronicity and out of sync with the harmony of the universe. And now she's going to come back up. And all of a sudden, expansion is going to expand even further. But Aurora, this has been such an awesome conversation. You are a ball of light and energy, and you are a warrior. And I loved every minute of it. You have the passion that I have. And it's very rare that I find someone who just like jumps through the computer screen and just is like, let's go. Like I could do this every week with you.
Let's do this, guys.
Yes.
Get up.
Let's go and see. When you finally free yourself, when you finally believe in yourself and you go all in on yourself, you can be this intense, you can be this passionate, you can be this light, and it's all perfect. And you're still human. I'm sure you still have stuff you got to process through. I'm sure you're still transmuting stuff. I'm sure you're still doing the human stuff, but you know what it is now, And so like, just tell us about your website, tell us about your business, your consulting, and give us any plugs and then we'll sign off.
Well, I would say everybody just head over to thegalacticfederation.com and sign up for our free, beautiful newsletter. It's the hottest newsletter on earth. We have every day hundreds of people saying how much they love us, how grateful they are for our work. And we are in return so grateful for every single one. And we just try to do really our best to get all the best information out every day, like 5D information and channels, and from everywhere in the world, from all the masters that we know. We vet them. We read everything anybody writes on this planet. Honestly, we read everything anybody writes on this planet and read the frequency out of it and everything that resonates with truth. We share that just to keep the vibration high. And that is the best tip I can give you. It's a free newsletter. It's beautiful. It's 1 email per day. And usually we had one technical issue. Our email went out 4 or 5 hours later than usual. And we had thousands of people messages. What happened to my email today? Did you unsubscribe me? Why am I not getting my email? And I was like, usually people are annoyed when you send them emails. And for us, it's the opposite. It's like, what's wrong with you guys? Where's my email today? I've been waiting for this.
That's big though, because nobody likes email campaigns.
Totally. It's not a campaign. It's our beautiful Love Galactic Federation newsletter that we're sending out with the latest news every day. It's important stuff. And because we have to stay on track, you know.
Mhm.
If you want to go yourself, look for the information, you're going to get old and gray before you find it. It's just really hard to find.
A
You read
lot
so
of
many,
digging. I've done a lot of
you
research.
know, and if you read 10 things that are nonsense and you don't want to look for number 11, maybe number 11 would be in that, but that number 11, we have it for you already. We've done the work, and it's important. We want to ascend. I want to live in 5D.
I do. I already feel like most
Purely
days we're
selfish
there.
reasons.
I feel like most days we're there in 5D now. But
Yeah,
like
we
I
are.
said, I do feel like we're being pulled back. It's a tug of war. And so
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming
Great.
online. What's your Instagram handle real quick so people can check you out
I
there?
am Aurora Ray.
I am Aurora Ray. I'll have links that pop up throughout the interview, and everything will be in the description below. Again, Energy Family, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Aurora Ray, for being here. Thank you, Galactic Federation of Light, wherever you are, for listening in on this and channeling a little bit through your amazing ambassador. I hope to
Right.
make more connections with y'all in the future. I would love to do more work with you in the future, Aurora. And honestly, this was such an amazing conversation. Again, Energy Family, thanks for tuning in. If you liked what you've seen and heard, hit that like button. If you want to join the Army of Energy, hit that subscribe button. Check us out on Telegram, t.me/Army of Energy. And with that, I hope you have a wonderful day and even better evening. And I will see you at another time soon. Take care and goodbye.